tried to film this video with my kid awake and it has been kind of a whirlwind and a little all over the place. So hopefully you can keep up. Hopefully I'm able to piece it together and make a little bit of sense. So if you're a single mom and you feel like a conversation about dating would be something you would relate to and enjoy, stay tuned because I'm going to ramble like all over the place about my experience and situations with it. So here we go.
I love you like la 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 la. I love you like la 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 la. I love you like.
In order to film, you found mom? In order to film, I have to like get him ready to film too. You're having a good day?
Yeah.
Why don't we get dressed, okay? Okay, so I kind of figured that was going to be a thing, obviously, right? Kind of the whole point of this video. At first I was like, I'm not going to be able to film, and then I was like, well, that's kind of like the perfect example of what I'm talking about. You want to sit with me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, love you so much.
I love you so much.
Oh, love you so much.
I love you so much. Are you putting on a show?
Oh, love you so much.
I love you so much. He's behind me munching on carrots. And the audio is going to be great. Right? Oh my god. So obviously right now we're like quarantined. And so it's just me and him. We personally are literally staying in our home, and anybody that doesn't live in our home, aka anybody but me or him, isn't coming in either. It's like a no in, no out thing. I'm trying to get this over with as quickly as possible, so I'm taking it as seriously as possible. I obviously am aware that like that's a privilege to be able to stay home and not have anybody else in my home and to be somewhere I'm happy and comfortable and safe. Not to get into all that, but I just want you guys to know that I'm not ignorant to like what's going on outside my doors. All I can control is what's happening in my house though. So anyway, my best friend found this on Facebook. The post is by Annie Hardigan, and I'll tag, this is her Instagram right here. And I'll put a link in the description box if you guys want to check it out. So I'm gonna read some of the parts that really resonated with me. She kind of talks about her personal thing, and that's what I wanted to do, was kind of talk about my personal story and how I'm dealing with it and how I'm prioritizing my life around this kind of thing. She said, I've fallen in love with being a single mom, though I really struggle making room for anyone who wants to take care of me or love me. When I was newly single, I remember it being really hard, and I hated the thought of not having the picture perfect family. When it comes to relationships or dating, I'm not ashamed to say that I've ghosted men, left them on red, canceled dates, backed out of becoming official because it just didn't feel right. I've done it all, and I'm not apologizing for it. A relationship might look more stable, but I don't need to be in a relationship to be more happy or feel loved, because my heart is full enough with what I have. It's also important to know what you want and what you don't, and settling is something I'll never do again. I'm content with it just being my son and I, and the life we have, and I take pride in doing everything by myself that it's hard to imagine another person being a part of that, and I'm not sorry for that either. Don't feel like you need to be in a relationship to feel better about yourself. A relationship can be a plus, but only when it adds to what you already have going for yourself. Take a step back and be proud of yourself for doing it all on your own. Appreciate the struggle. Seriously, it makes you a hell of a lot stronger, and it will bring the right person to you in the future. I just really appreciated her posting that, because it was something that I kind of like half-assed thought like all the time as I was like drifting off to bed. I'm like, man, like why don't I like want to date? Like why, like is that normal? Like, you know, like I'm just like completely content. But the point of like what I'm getting at is I really just want to reach somebody else that's like a single mom and struggling with it, and just like, oh, I'm failing and I'm not doing it right and da 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 da, because it doesn't have to be like a goal to not be a single mom. Like I feel like you can kind of embrace that and find a mindset that's positive and that you're like proud of yourself instead of feeling like you need to find somebody. So I wanted to quickly like kind of like sum up my scenario. I first wanted to kind of share that I at one point felt that way. For those of you that don't know, I knew Onyx's dad, but we weren't together. So when I first got pregnant, I was kind of like really freaked out because I knew I was going to be like completely alone, and I felt like, okay, once I have a kid, I'm never going to be able to date again. I need to find somebody like now. I had this whole mindset that like things were not going to be okay unless I found like a teammate, like a dad figure type thing for him. So when Onyx was 2 months old, his dad and I started kind of getting together so that he could see Onyx. And it never was like a dating thing or anything like intimate. It was never anything more than just like spending time with Onyx, all right? And I just kind of decided I wasn't going to date during that time, because how are you gonna like date somebody and be like, oh, no big deal, I'm just gonna go to LA to stay with my kid's dad for a few days or whatever. So I just decided that Onyx's relationship with his dad was more important than me trying to find somebody to date, because they just weren't going to get it. Is that Spikes? Do you like it? So I just wanted to include that in there, because I've gotten like DMs and stuff like, what's going on with Onyx's dad and whatever, and that's the extent of that. We have a good relationship. It's always been kind of circled around Onyx and not really like us. So that's like not a thing. Like I just want to like make sure that that's like open, because a lot of people I think that him and I don't speak, or that he's not around. It's just a unique situation. His dad is in LA, or you know, he travels a lot, so he's not around where it's just like, hey, you're with your dad on Wednesdays or the weekends or whatever, and those are the nights that I set aside for dating. Like it's not like that for me. I have Onyx 100% of the time, and I honestly really enjoy it. Like I'm not complaining. I'm not dating right now, but even pre-quarantine I wasn't dating, because I go into work at like 10 p.m. and then I get off at 6 a.m. So I get home usually around like 8. Some days I go to work at 5 and I work like 13-hour shifts. Obviously it's hard. I found somebody on care.com and she's absolutely amazing. I literally love that girl, and I hope that like we have her as long as I need a babysitter. She's so great. So she comes in my home and watches him. I sleep a lot during the day, and that's obviously when he's awake. I'm very lucky to have Onyx, who kind of understands my schedule, and he'll, you know, I'll nap next to him while he plays on the tablet, kind of like he is right now or something, and I'll wake up and he'll give me a hug and be like, thank you for letting mom sleep. And it's just so sweet. But it took us a long time to get the hang of it. My mom would pick him up during the day so that I could sleep. Like normally I work on Mondays, for example. Pre-quarantine, I don't know what life will be like after this, but by Tuesday, Wednesday I'd be kind of fully rested, and then I knew that I had to go back into work Friday. So my Wednesday was kind of like my day at home to catch up on like housework and then watch movies with him or my shows or whatever. And Thursday we'd like usually go on like an adventure, like to the zoo or the science center or like whatever. If I scheduled out a date, it would be taking away one of the 2 days that Onyx actually gets to spend time with me. It's never worth everything that goes into it. The time away from my kid, finding a sitter, all of that. You know, some people are going to have stories, obviously, where they meet the love of their life. I actually have friends who have met people while being a single mom, so I don't think that it's impossible. You know, I do believe in that. You find what you're looking for when you least expect it, but I also think that you have to like let the universe know that you're ready for those kinds of things, and I have not been sending out those signals. I have very big blocks around my heart because of things I've gone through in the past, and not even just like with heartbreak. I mean literally like wasting time trying to date while having a kid. They were all big letdowns. Personally, my dating update, this is why I don't date. Since I've had Onyx, there has been, I want to say 3 people that I've gone on a date with. And one was like while I was traveling and had family out of town. And the other 2, both of them lived like far away, because like I moved back to where I grew up. And so I didn't want to date anybody that like I went to high school with, or, you know, similar scenarios. At that time, he wasn't away from me a lot. So it would be a lot on whoever was watching him, because our schedule, like I didn't work. So I'd stay up with him till like 2 in the morning. It didn't matter. So everybody else that goes to bed at like 10, it was just really hard. Okay. I really don't want to have this be a 20-minute long video about my personal dating thing. I really want it to be something relatable to you guys, but I just want to run through that really quick. That while I was trying to date when he was, you know, under 2 years old, it was very difficult, because our schedule was opposite. The people I was dating lived really far away, and yeah, I mean 10 nights that I spent away from Onyx for nothing. I got very like my hopes up. I don't connect with people a lot. I'm gonna be really honest. I went through, you know, my breakup a few years ago, and since then I just haven't really like put myself out there. Full transparency, not worrying about who's watching it. It was really hard. So when I find somebody that I connect with and I like have that feeling of like, okay, this could be something, it's a big deal for me. That doesn't happen like on the regular. So anyway, at this point, it has been 2 years, right? A year maybe, since I've gone on a date at all, and I just don't see the point in it. with my experience, having a sitter keep him for the night and putting myself out there to be with somebody emotionally and stuff, it just isn't worth it. If it did escalate to the point of like having somebody like actually in my life to date, I don't see how they'd fit into my equation, you know? Like, I just don't see how I would have time for it. The point I'm getting at is it's just not a priority in my life right now. The perfect person would have to include like Onyx and I both as a priority in their life, and I feel like that's something you have to work up to, and I just don't have the abundance of time to dedicate to building something with somebody prior to that. It's something that like I miss, you know, but everything that I miss about being in a relationship, I kind of have that with my son. Like, you know, he's there when, you know, like I need somebody to laugh with or need somebody to hold, or like if I'm seeking like attention or whatever, like.
Follow me.
I love you.
I love you.
So I just don't feel like a piece of my heart missing right now that I need someone else to fill, you know, which is kind of like what this post says. I just think that everybody needs to keep in mind that like these years that we have with our kids at home, like they're not gonna last forever, you know. So this like period where he's literally like home with me before he starts running off to school and like has like friends he's running around with, like I'm just gonna take that time to like have a relationship with my kid, and then later on when he's a teenager, I guess I'll start dating again, but right now I'm just not, you know. Obviously the physical aspect of the situation is something that I'm lacking, but it's turned into something that I don't care about. It's such like a big deal now. I don't know. My friends that knew I was making this video, they're like, are you gonna talk about that? I'm like, apparently I'm just vaguely gonna mention it. I just feel like I owe it to Onyx to give him like 100% of my time right now. All this time that has gone by of being single, it's just made my standards different. I wouldn't say higher. It's not just gonna be like, oh, he'll do, like I could date that sounds fun. It's not about that. It would have to be somebody that like really just like fits, you know, like that my missing piece. And it's like, it's one of those pieces that the puzzle's kind of fine without, you know. There have been people that have asked me on dates and I've kind of like entertained it, but like I ghost people constantly and I don't respond to their messages, and then like weeks go by and I'm like, all right, I've like not followed through with that, I guess I'll leave it alone. I don't know, it's just not been the right thing yet. So yeah, there's not anybody that I'm like seeing that I'm like holding back from you guys. There's nothing going on. There's been 2 or 3 people that I've been interested in the last like 3 years, and they all 3 kind of, gonna be honest, they ghosted the fuck out of me. It didn't go well, and any person that I'm ever interested in kind of disappears into thin air, not gonna lie. So it's something I've just kind of stopped trying to mess with. But aside from my apparent curse, I also just don't have the time for it, especially if I'm not quite sure that I'm gonna get what I'm putting out. A few more things to kind of touch on. Before I had my son, I was modeling and stuff. I had went through a weight gain previously, but for the most part I've always been pretty confident in my body, and it's changed a lot since having a kid. I mean, I'm still in like decent shape, but I mean, it's just not, I'm not comfortable showing my stomach right now. That's something that's really held me back from dating, because I feel like I lack that confidence that I would need to be like actually happy in a relationship, especially anything like physical. Plus, you will not date a single mom that's clingy. Like, we have so many other things going on. Obviously, our attention is constantly divided. I just wanted to post this so that you kind of see that there's more to that cookie cutter lifestyle of like, you need to be married and the white picket fence and all that, that you can do that on your own and like have just as beautiful of a future, you know. I know that I've talked to a few of you in my DMs, and it's not, you know, as ideal as like what we've got going on, but you have to remember, a year ago I was living in my mom's basement with 0 money. Like, I couldn't even afford to like just go buy a cheeseburger if I wanted. And 5 years ago I was completely suicidal, depressed, and had no purpose in life, or didn't feel like I did, is what I'm getting at. Things can change, and it's like, I think a lot about your mindset, and once you switch, you know, telling yourself that like you're doing something wrong or you need to be with somebody, and you switch it more to like, I got this, you know, that the universe will start lining things up for you. So I hope that this wasn't too all over the place and that you understood kind of the underlying meaning. I mentioned talking about dating while being a single mom, so I wanted to deliver that for you guys. Spikes got you? Oh no, you failed. That's something we're working on, is the whole talking over me thing. That's totally a thing.
To make you feel wanted, but what about what I want?
while mom's talking. I guess if y'all are watching this, you're single moms too, and you'll get it, right? So we're just gonna let that happen. If you are watching this and you're not a parent, I mean, why? Then you might not get it, but if you're a mom, you're gonna understand. Chill, chill. Oh, I'm sorry, chill. Excuse me. Leave my pillows there, dude. Have fun. Get up there, please. All right, let mom keep one pillow. The truth is I haven't put the sheets on my bed yet because they're in the dryer. So I have to cover it. All right. Well done, high five. You're having a good day? You want to play The Sims?
Yeah.
First of all, wardrobe change because we're potty training and there was a little mishap. This is kind of all over the place, so hopefully I can edit this to make sense. Well done. Let mom talk and Onyx can play on the tablet, or I can get you a snack.
I love you.
I love you.
I'm so sorry talking.
Carrots?
Yeah.
Okay, will you sit here and let mom talk and eat carrots?
And do a tablet.
You want to play on the tablet?
Yeah.
Okay. No marble game. No marble game.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, because you'll cry if we play the marble game.
Play marble game.
You want to play the marble game?
Yeah.
No.
I love you like la 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 la.